Hello students. So now this is third video, Vistas class 12th, the enemy. So in the first two videos we have read this much, that Dr. Sadao, he found one injured person, and then he got to know that this is not a Japanese, this is not a fisherman. Actually this was enemy, American injured, Navy personnel. One more thing, this doctor could get to know from the wound that he must be a prisoner of war. He might have tried to escape when he got the bullet. Now the question arises whether he should treat him because he's injured, or he should be just a patriot, a Japanese, and call the police and hand him over to them. And then ultimately, after internal conflict, he then decides, or we can say they both, husband and wife, they decide that he should be taken home, for the treatment. But certainly after the treatment, they would be calling the army or the Japanese police and they will be handing him over to them. Though they were having this fear of maybe servants objecting to it, but they were sure that servants would be able to understand their position and their intentions. So ultimately they decide to bring him home. So now we are starting from page number 29. Second para, certainly Sadao agreed, I would not think of doing anything else. Sadao said, yes, certainly. This is true that I also intend to hand him over to the army after the initial treatment. Thus agreed, together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been fowl is a bird, like a bird that had been half starved for a long time until it is only feathers and skeleton. Actually we can say this is a simile. Suppose you get these lines, your one question can be, what is the figure of speech? So here you can say this is simile because here this injured Tom, injured person, injured American is compared to a fowl, compared to a bird who is actually, bird is very light in weight, and he's so light that they say that even the bird who is half starved, who is not a healthy bird, he's a sick bird or who is not having food in his stomach. So this man, injured man, was that light. So his arms, and one more thing we can say, this can be even called exaggeration also. This can be example of exaggeration. This can also, you if you want, you can write. Why? Because naturally no one can be that light, but even then this is compared that way, so this can be called exaggeration. This is also figure of speech. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death it had not been used. They laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Now they took the man to their home, and they took the man to that room which was actually now empty. It was Sadao's father's room, and Sadao's father was now no more. So they laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Now this was his father's room, and they took him there. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never be in his own home, sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. Actually, chair or bed, this is not the concept of Japan. They normally, sit on the floor, and they would prefer to even sleep on the floor itself. This furniture they don't approve. So his father was a typical Japanese man. That's why he never approved any furniture in his room. So this kind of room it was, which was showing a typical, we can say, setup of a Japanese bedroom. Hana went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. She hesitated. She took out the quilt, but for a second she hesitated. This can be the question if you get these lines. Why did she hesitate? She hesitated because the quilt was very beautiful, of very good quality, and the man was very dirty at that time. He was injured, he was bleeding, there were blood stains, and there was sand, we can say, on his body. So that's why she hesitated whether she should use this quilt for this man or not. The quilt was covered with flowered silk and the lining was pure white silk. "He's so dirty," she murmured in distress. "Yes, he had better be washed." Sadao agreed. "If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him." And he said, "Yes, even I can see he is really very dirty. He is having that much sand on his body. I think we should wash him first." So that's why Sadao said, "Better you bring some water. Okay, hot water, I can wash him." "I cannot bear for you to touch him," she said. "We shall have to tell the servants he's here. I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children for a few minutes and she can wash him." So they decided now that they should tell the servants first, and this job can also be done by some servant. So one servant is actually Yumi. She is specially for the children only. Okay, she's not doing any other work. She is there only for the children. But she said, "I will call Yumi and she will do this job because she does this job for the children. Okay, washing in all these things. So she can do this." And then Sadao agreed. Sadao said, "Okay, by this time I will go to the other servants. I will tell him that we have got one injured person over here." Sadao considered a moment. "Let it be so," he agreed. "You tell Yumi and I will tell the others." But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. Now actually when Sadao was going out, for a second he looked at the face of the man, and this man was still unconscious, but the face was very pale looking face. And as a doctor, he could not leave this patient. He just bent and he felt the pulse first of all of this man. He put his hand against the man's cold breast. The heart was yet alive. So the pulse was very faint pulse. Okay, but the man was alive. "He will die unless he is operated on," Sadao said, considering. "The question is whether he will not die anyway." Now himself he only asked. First of all he said, "I think he should be operated on, otherwise he will die because the bullet must be in the body only and that can spread the poison." But then he was telling, maybe he was thinking, that is it that if I try to save him, I think even then he will die. He is to die actually. Why? Because he is prisoner of war, and Japanese police will never maybe treat him that way that he should enjoy his life. Naturally, maybe in the jail only he will be given imprisonment or maybe death penalty. So that's why. Hana cried out in fear, "Don't try to save him. What if he should live?" Hana said, No, never ever think of saving this man. Okay, don't even try to save him. Don't even think of operation. Okay, and then she said, "What is the thing if he lives also? What is the use? Because if we try to save him, if we save him, even then, in the jail maybe he will be given death penalty. So don't do this." "What if he should die?" Sadao replied. Okay, now they are in conflict. Okay, now they are thinking naturally there is no use if he lives, and there is no use if they let him die that way also. Means as a doctor he wants to do something. He stood gazing down on the motionless man. This man must have ordinary vitality. Vitality means that bravery or strength in the body. Okay, he looked at this boy and he thought that maybe this man must be very extraordinary brave. Okay, he is having that much strength that still he is alive. Otherwise, if it had happened to some other person, normal person, he would have died by now. But he's a soldier, he's a tough person. Or he would have been dead by now. But then he was very young, perhaps not yet 25. This is what the idea they could get from the face of this boy, that maybe he's under 25. "You mean die from the operation?" Hana asked. "Yes," Sadao said. Hana considered this doubtfully, and when she did not answer, Sadao turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him. Now ultimately he said, whether he lives or dies afterwards, but I think something should be done for this man. He went quickly out of the room and Hana came behind him. she did not wish to be left alone with a white man. And now he seemed to have nothing to do. He was the first she had seen since she left America, and now he seemed to have nothing to do with those whom she had known there. Actually, it's not that first time she had seen American, that's why she never wanted to be here all alone in this room with this American, injured, unconscious American. No, she was there in America, studied there. But now the situation is different. Now they are enemies. America and Japan, they are enemies, and that's why she never wanted to be here all alone with this enemy. Here she was, her enemy, a menace, living or dead. Menace, we can say a trouble. Whether he is living or he is dead, he is actually a trouble. Okay, in this house or maybe in Japan. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. But the children heard her voice and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with the baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. She had 2 children. Okay, so the smallest one, the younger one, was 3 months old. She went inside, she played with that boy. Over the baby's soft black hair, she went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms, while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. Then Hana led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. The 2 servants were frightened at what their master had just told them. Now, actually, Sadao had already told about this American prisoner, injured one, okay, to the servants, and that's why servants were still very much surprised. Maybe they were not expecting any enemy in the house. That's why they were surprised and frightened. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled a few hairs on his upper lip. Means he was in deep thinking. This is what it shows. Okay, so if you get these lines, you may get this question also. Okay, what does it imply that he is pulling hair, okay, on his upper lip? What does it imply? Means he is deep thinking. And then what he said: the master ought not to heal the wound of this white man. Ought not means should not. Ultimately he said, I think Dr. Sadao should not heal this man. He said bluntly to Hana. Maybe in front of Sadao he could not say anything, but to Hana he directly said in front of her only. The white man ought to die. First he was shot, then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. Actually, he is now a little bit superstitious. He is trying to say that maybe God also wants that this man should die. That's why he got the bullet, and when he was saved, he did not die with the bullet, then maybe he jumped into water. Maybe God only wanted this. And there also, he came towards this rocky side. Okay, it means God wants that the man should die, and this Dr. Sadao should not interfere, okay, in the God's plans. I will tell him what you say. Hana replied courteously. Means she was very polite. She said, okay, whatever you think, I respect the way you think. I respect your feelings, okay, and I will convey this to Sadao also. But she herself was also frightened, although she was not superstitious as the old man was. She was educated lady, she was not superstitious, but she was also frightened that Sadao should not treat this enemy, because otherwise they will be in danger. Could it ever be well to help an enemy? Now she also started thinking, maybe not from superstitious point of view, but still she was thinking that is it good thing, is it right thing to help enemy? Nevertheless, she told Yumi to fetch the hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. But then she told Yumi also that you bring hot water because she was to wash that injured American enemy. She went ahead and slid back the partitions. Now Yumi along with Hana, they went to that room, and Yumi was going ahead. She entered and slid back the partition so that the light could come. Sadao was not yet there. Yumi, following, put down her wooden bucket. Then she went over to the white man. When she saw him, her thick lips folded themselves into stubbornness. Now when Yumi saw this American, little bit hesitation she showed. And maybe in the body language it was clear that she's stubborn. She's not going to wash this man. I have never washed a white man, she said, and I will not wash so dirty a one now. And then, flatly, she refused. She said, no, I have never touched, I have never washed any American, any white man, and even today also, I'm not going to do this.